Welcome to episode 8 of Locking In with Ramsey. Today, our guest is Zakerie Farah, and I'm very excited to have you on.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for bringing me on, man.
Yeah, very excited. So, for those of you who haven't listened before, hopefully we're getting a lot of people. This is your first episode. I'd love that. Locking in is about locking into your life. So I hear a lot of people talk about, oh man, I'm like locked in. I'm not locked in, man. That guy's, he's locked in. But how do I get locked in like him? And to me, it's getting locked in is great, but the process of life is the process of locking in. You're never truly locked into everything. So here we're talking about the process of locking in. And so, Zach, what are you locking into in your life right now, and what made you want to come on the podcast?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Saw a couple of your episodes, and I love the idea about like locking in and whatnot.
Yeah.
And how you started off, I do find myself sometimes comparing myself with others. But for me, locking in is about just being a good person. And by me striving to be just a good person, that's something hard to get to because you're never really a perfect person. You're never like the best.
Well, that's what you made me think, is that you're never like locked into like, I'm a good person now.
Yeah,
right? But being a good person is about like, today I'm going to do something good, and tomorrow I'm going to do something good, and the next day I'm going to do something good. And you're always being a good person. You're never like, I'm a good person now, I'm done.
Nah, you can never be like, no one's like the perfect person. So,
right. You're just trying to be better than yesterday.
What's 1% better?
1% better, exactly. Just 1% better.
So that's how I'm walking in. I'm striving to be a good person, and I learn a lot from my religion. I'm a practicing Muslim, and striving in that way is something hard to do, but makes me feel good, and that's how I don't know, describe locking in.
Yeah, I think locking in is always hard to do, but it always feels good once you've done it a bit. Like I like that idea of it, as it's like, it is always hard to do though.
It is, yeah. I mean, like, so in Islam, like, a lot of people talk about like the purpose of life and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I have many goals in life, and we can talk more about that through our conversation. But distilled to a simple sense is just to worship God. And there's actually like a verse in the Quran that says, the purpose of your life. So I'll paraphrase: the purpose of your life is just to worship God. And what does it mean to worship God? One is to believe in Him, and then the second is to be good. And at your lowest, it's easy to strive to that level.
Yeah.
Right? And even at your best, you still have more to strive for.
Yeah.
And I found that to be like a good, I don't know, steering machine for me in life.
Yeah. It's an interesting framing, because like I've been working on my own kind of like religion for myself, I guess, and hopefully maybe for some other people. And I think at the end of the day, there's kind of like two things in it that you're supposed to do, and one is to like help other people live their lives and be a good person, and the other one, and that's, to me, that's what kind of what being a good person is. And then the other one is, I think, worshiping God. If I take it very metaphorically, I would agree. And that, to me, worshiping God and believing in Him is kind of like playing your role in the grand play, I guess, and doing what you're supposed to do, and believing that like you are where you are for a reason, and like you should, I guess, do the things that the person who's in your spot would do, I guess, like believe in God's divine plan for the world, I guess. And sometimes that means helping others, sometimes that means having a shitty day, and sometimes that means having a great day and going to a party.
Yeah.
I don't know if that checks out with yours.
No, fair. I think most religions have like this conception of like you gotta do good, you know,
Yeah.
and because I feel like being a good person is like kind of intuitive in a certain respect.
And most people will agree being a good person is good. That
yeah,
one's like
give it to charity, like, you know what I mean. Like that's the
most people can agree on that one. They're like, yeah, we're all on board.
We're all on board on the charity part.
Yeah, you should give to charity 100%.
100%, and then you shouldn't harm people 100%. You know. What I find interesting in the Islamic context is, you know, because it's an organized religion and has a whole bunch of structures and whatnot. The structures in itself help guide you to be a good person, because, like, I think, you know, we talk about locking in, right? Like, oftentimes that gets associated with a whole bunch of routines. Like, this is how you get an A in school. You know, you need to hit this. In Islam, okay, this is how you become a good person. Part of being a good person or worshiping God and doing well in your life is to pray 5 times a day.
Right.
And I have had a lot of difficulties, like, you know, reaching that level of doing it, you know, praying 5 times a day. But in doing so, that adds a certain level of discipline in life that, you know, apart from your religious activities, helps you reach other activities. You know what I mean?
I believe it.
Like, if you're trying to become, you know, if you're struggling with drugs in your life, you know, by, you know, striving for praying 5 times a day, like, you are forced to, like, you know, because these 5 prayers, like, you got to hit them at certain times of the day, right? Yeah. So you can't be drunk by the evening prayer,
right?
You know what I mean? And by the morning prayer, so you gotta, like, hit.
Well, you gotta pray 5 times a day. You gotta be not drunk for them.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah.
So if you want to hit them, you gotta be sober, like, basically all day.
Exactly, and actually, part of, like, you know, I bring the drinking part because actually the drinking part it's a big part of the religion. Not big part of the religion, rather how in Islam how God has, like, outlawed drinking because, you know, Muslims aren't allowed to drink. It wasn't the first day Islam, because Islam was basically, tell me if I'm going all over the place here, but like, so, you know, Prophet Muhammad gets the divine revelation, and then he gets the revelation of this book over the course of his latter 23 years, right? So from 40 to 63, I believe, and the Quran slowly introduced these verses throughout his entire life. And in the beginning, in Islam, drinking was not prohibited. So prayer comes towards it, and then God makes God makes the revelation. Okay, you could drink, sure, but you can't be drunk during prayer. And by him making that rule, that effectively makes it very difficult for folks to continue on drinking their wine, you know,
and still pray
5 times a day. So, for me, what I love about Islam is, like, you know, of course, the being good part is a simple thing to do, but, you know, being good is also very, like, you know, there's a lot of grades, and, you know, we're so often like thrown to our temptations and whatnot. But for me, by, you know, being a practicing Muslim and doing those 5 daily prayers, by fasting during Ramadan and whatnot, helps me, like, guide my life to, like, being a better person.
Well, you've got, like, a formal structure that you can point to and say, yes, I did the thing that I was supposed to do.
Exactly.
Right? As I said, like, the rules say pray 5 times a day, and I prayed 5 times a day, so at least I know I'm doing something, right? And maybe before I was praying 2 times a day, and now I'm praying 5 times a day, so I know I'm doing better, right? You got, like, a measure, you got like a metric, right? You got KPIs to say, like, Zach is going up on the doing good scale.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You know what I mean? Like, you do these simple things that, like, boom, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
I think that's really important, actually. Yeah. And, like, I think like I've started developing some of those things for myself as well. Like I've started meditating regularly, and like I meditate twice a day, ideally. And like I gotta meditate twice a day. Like if I'm meditating twice a day, like I know I'm doing better. And I think I see prayer and meditation in different religions is like it's a very similar practice where you're very just like focused on your mind and things in your mind, and that gives a lot of benefits, not just in terms of like I guess God will reward you, but in terms of like there's mental health benefits to doing these practices, and I'm sure there's huge mental health benefits to praying 5 times a day. And just in terms of like sharpening your focus and your discipline and getting used to doing something at the time that you said you would do it, and like believing in yourself to like do the thing, because you're like, well, I've been praying 5 times a day at exactly the same time, so if someone's like, hey, can I show up at this time for something, it's like, yeah, I do have that time management skill because I've been working on it, praying 5 times a day. Like there's so many incidental benefits to these practices, and when someone like forces you, the religion says, hey, you got to pray 5 times a day, now you're forced to develop like so many skills as part of that.
Yeah, like the structure like definitely brings upon that skills. And like, you know, I'm thinking about what one of my friends told me. He has like this quote, he's like, you know, freedom's on the other side of discipline. You know, I think, you know, we're at our best selves when I think we all have like a conception of ourselves that is the best self, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like people often people often like, there's this saying that people often say, like, you know, like you never want to be in a place where, you know, you're hallucinating your potential, you know, your potential best self, you know, you just want to be that best self. And you know, in order to reach that best self, I think a lot of us intuitively think like that's discipline, you know what I mean? And it's doing those small things like day in, day out, you know? So definitely like hitting those prayers gets us to that disciplined place, you know. And the flip side of that is like, you know, is temptation, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're tempted to eat that extra donut. You're tempted to, you know, sleep instead of, you know, doing your nightly prayers, you know. You know, falling to our temptations, like that's how you become your worst self, you know. And so, you know, those are things that you're constantly battling about. Yeah.
I got a lot of thoughts on those. I'm
just please.
Collect them and put them together, because I think I agree with like everything you were saying. It's just that I put it in slightly different words, so I want to see if I'm saying the same thing. So I think, what were you saying? One of them was discipline. Oh, I think the first thing was that like you need like structure gives you freedom. I think like one of the ways I think of that is, I know like in creative spaces when artists are making stuff, a lot of the time they say like restraints are, I don't remember the exact quote, but like having restraints helps you be more creative. And that it's like, oh, like I have like limited money to spend on this art project. Okay, I actually got to be more creative now in order to make the art like work in this like limited budget. Or, oh, I'm only allowed to paint with like this kind of paint, right? So I have to be like really creative in how I paint now. But if someone's like, you can do literally whatever you want. You can make an art project and it's just like, you got $10 million to make it. All right, and we can buy anything you want for it. Then you're like, fuck, I don't know. What am I going to make, bro? I got unlimited options, right? But if they're like, oh, you got to make it, you know, a square this big, and you're only allowed to use this paint, and you're only allowed to use this much paint, go. Then your brain's like, okay, this is like a solvable problem now, right? Like, how am I going to, okay, I need to like, that means most of it's got to be white, right? Because I don't have that much paint to use. So if most of it's got to be white, how am I going to use this paint? And I know how this kind of paint works. And then you start getting creative, and bam, now you got some kind of beautiful art piece, right? I think it's kind of a similar way for your life, is like when you have like certain, like you need, if you have total freedom in your life, then like, it's like, I don't know, what do I do? But when you have some kind of structures in it, right, then in between the structures, you have like a more freedom and more creativity to like go do, it's easier to do what you want.
Yeah.
That's, one part of it. I got more
please.
to what you're saying. And then, so there's that aspect. And I think the other aspect to structure, and I guess kind of just like being aware of what are the structures on you in society, is that like you can't actually ever do what you want. Like you have limited money, you got limited time, you got limited friends to hang out with, right? You have to go to work and like do a job, right? And like you do have these constraints in your life, and like the real locking in is not about like eliminating all the constraints. I think it's about like within the constraints, like choosing how to paint the picture, given that it has to be white and I only have like a tiny bit of paint, or it's like a tiny canvas that I'm allowed to use or something. And like, you know, the locking in and the freedom and the choices is about, yeah, in between those constraints in your life, what are you gonna do with them?
You know what? This actually brings me up to like, you know, I live like I live alone, and but like near family and whatnot, and I thought that moving out would give me all the freedom in the world. But honestly, like it's just there's a lot, you know, like
yeah, it's like, what do I do with
what
this?
do I do with this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so like I found like I was better at chores living at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my mom would be like, okay, like Zach gotta take out the trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
now you gotta make yourself take out the trash.
Exactly.
And that's like, oh, that's hard now.
That's so hard.
I gotta make myself take out the trash.
Yeah.
Like, so I got like during the day, I got my Google Home gives me reminders of what time it is.
No way.
And it's like at noon. It's like, it's noon. Have you eaten lunch? And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't eat lunch. Oh, I had time to get lunch.
So you structure your day, like you get reminders throughout your day on what to do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you live alone for a big part of your life, or
not for a huge part of my life, but this is a habit I've developed like since I've started like I mean, I guess the last, I say like 4 or 5 years I've been living completely on my own. Yeah.
And so like you feel like you got better with the habits and whatnot?
Oh yeah, but it's but only like because I created structure for myself.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the structure that I've created for myself is better than like a structure somebody else gave me, but I had to create that structure for myself. If that makes sense? Like if my parents are telling me, oh, you got to live your life this way and this way and this way, it was a useful structure when I was growing up, especially as a kid. Like I don't know what's going on.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
And like it's good that my parents created structure for me. But now it's like I can start creating my own structures, and I think part of the problem I've been having recently is like I'm too willing to like try and create new structures and try and do better, even the structures that I created for myself.
Of course, I'd be like,
so like,
I feel like
I've made a habit for myself, and I'm like, I think I can do better. And then, but it's like, actually, Ramsey, today, like you need to follow this set of habits today so you can like get out of the house at the right time, so you can like go to this event that you have scheduled or something, right? Like if you're just like, man, I think I could like brush my teeth better. Like, am I brushing my teeth right?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like starting to create a new habit for how to brush my teeth. Then like I'm gonna be like working on how to brush my teeth all day. Just brush your teeth the same as you did yesterday, Ramsey. Just keep doing the same habit, and it's a good one.
So do you feel like you're balancing, you know, working up to the most optimized self to just being content in who you are, where you are, and whatnot?
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah. There's like the one side of creating better habits for yourself, I guess, and the other side of like this is a good habit that like me or maybe somebody else gave it to me, made it in the past, and I just gotta do it today, and like that's okay because I can't do everything perfectly, right?
Yeah, I do.
I'm never gonna have the perfect habit.
I think there are things I ought to do. I was actually considering. Actually, there's a couple ways to think about it. I think, I feel like I'll that's one reason why I think I would live well with a partner, and I think we want to talk about that aspect of life. But actually, what you just mentioned, because a partner would have that sort of like person that you'd be like.
You guys got to check each other.
Yeah. But when you talk about like that balance between like optimizing to be your best self and then also being content who you are, I find that with like my working out regime and health regime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I look at like TikTok and whatnot, and like I see the guys like all buffed out and and I'm in my head I'm like, okay, that'd be cool to have, like to be like fucking ripped as hell, you know. Sorry if I don't know if I was supposed to say, but
No. Is that we're whatever you want to talk about? That's what we're talking about.
okay,
right?
fuck yeah, okay.
That's
So
how this goes.
so sometimes I'm like whatnot, but then I realized the amount of work necessary to reach that level of just like buffness. It's just way too like I don't even want to consider that in my life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That like 6 days a week at the gym, like counting every calories and your macros and whatnot.
That's what I'm doing.
Shout out, you know, shout out. Like,
but yeah,
but for me, like, I think I feel like there's a little bit more I want to get better at. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like like my regime right now is like I try to hit 3 days a week at the gym, and
that's good.
And I want to hit. Like right now, I'm on a caloric deficit because I want to get to like a level where I can like gain a little bit.
Yeah.
But once I reach like, I think I'm trying to like lose 5 pounds. I think once I reach my 5 pound difference, then I'll like gain a little bit. But then I feel like I looked at myself in the mirror today, and I'm like, you know, when I'm 60. This is fucking great. Like how I look right now. Like
look great right now.
Like God bless. You know what I mean? Like well done. You know. No, like nowhere near like swimmer body level.
Yeah,
you know. But this is good enough. And like, and in my head I'm like, should I just? But no, I feel like you gotta keep doing what you gotta do. I don't know. Yeah. Well, how do you think about you balancing?
I think it's both.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Is that locking in is about like it's like you still want to get better. Yeah. You're doing something. When you're locking, you're doing something. You are going to the gym. You are counting calories. You are eating like less or more, whatever you need to eat. Yeah. You are doing that. At the same time, you got to enjoy the process of locking. You got to look at yourself today and be like, man, like I look great today. Yeah. Maybe I'll look better tomorrow, but like I look great today. And I'm going to keep doing better. And then, you know, it's some things, maybe you're going to get to a point where like you can't lift weights anymore and you can't go to the gym, or you got to just only do cardio or something, and then you got to be satisfied with that, and that's what you're going to work on now. But like it's you got to hold both at the same time. Of like, I look great today, and I'm enjoying the process of looking greater. And maybe one day I'll look greater, and maybe I'm gonna like not be eating enough protein, and I'm not gonna get any gains for a year, and I'll like realize after a year, shit, I should be eating more protein shakes, right? But like it's fine. Yeah, you know, you're enjoying the process. You're enjoying going to the gym. Like you gotta have fun with it.
Man, hitting like 180 grams of protein a day, it's difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Like, how do you
well, so my protein hack for everyone, if you live in Canada, or even the US, is, I think there's Fairlife is like the brand name one. Yeah. And Natural Plus is like it's like a cheaper one. It just tastes like milk. And it has like double the protein of regular milk, and it's delicious. I just chug this shit all day long.
Oh, I used to do that during Ramadan. Yeah.
It's so good.
I should.
Natural Plus.
Because it says like 50% more protein on the bottle, right? Yeah. Tastes amazing.
Yeah, they got the Natural Plus. They have a vanilla flavor, and it's so good. I just drink it out of the carton.
No, but like the thing about me is like it's always like that's like what, like how many grams of protein does that give you in a day?
So it's 18 grams per glass.
Okay, yeah.
And I have at least 2 glasses a day.
Okay, and then so that's how do you get, like on your normal day? How do you get to your one?
I mean, you don't want to hear about.
No, I would love to actually hear about this. Yeah.
So I have like meal replacement shakes.
Okay, yeah.
During the day.
Yeah.
So like today, I think I had 2 meal replacement shakes that had like 15 grams of protein. Okay. So that was like 30 grams, and then I had 2 glasses of milk. Yeah. Which was another like 40. Okay. So I had like 50 grams, and then I have this Vector cereal. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a high protein cereal. Yeah. Because it has soy protein in it, and that one you gotta buy the right one because they got 2 different.
So brands. Is this a cereal that has protein in it?
Yeah, it's not as good as like a protein bar or something. Okay, but like I have that with the protein milk. Yeah. And that's like 30 grams of protein in a bowl of cereal.
So now you're at 50 to 80.
And then
you see what I mean? Now you have 100 more left. Yeah. Okay, well yeah, so continue. Yeah. And then
I think to me that's not the amount of calories eaten so far is like not that much, and like you can go eat like you got room for a meal or 2 on top of that. Yeah. And then you could probably get 50 grams in each meal.
Yeah, I guess like Popeye's 5-piece tender, that's 60 grams.
Yeah, right there, so if you're having like 2 of those things or something, then you're good.
What else do I have?
What did I eat today? I don't know.
Me and eating, like, that is like my like number one. Like, when you talk about healthy living, like, I could hit the 3 times a gym. I could do the 10,000 steps. I've been killing on the step game, like, just absolutely ripping it on the step game. 20K last night. Yeah, it was good. It was good. But like hitting the protein, and then hitting the protein with cost. That's another thing.
So as I have a spreadsheet of different foods.
Yeah.
And they're $1 per gram
You're
of protein.
You're joking. I would love to have that. Yeah.
So then when I'm at the grocery store, I have it like set up so that it's like it's formulas. So I just type in like the grams of stuff in the box and the grams per serving and like grams and like grams of protein per serving and like the dollar of the box. So I don't have to do any math. And then like the formula calculates like grams, like $1 per gram of protein, and I can compare it to my other sources and be like, oh, this is like a cheap one.
So are you a big cooker?
No.
Same. I hate cooking. Like,
you gotta get these meal replacement shakes.
Yeah, I love my Ensure. I grew up on Ensure.
No, these ones are like, they're way better than Ensure. They got less sugar.
Yeah.
They got more fiber.
Yeah.
And they have a better balance of micronutrients.
Fiber. So that's one thing. I used to hit my protein goals like a year ago or 2 years ago, like pretty consistently.
Yeah.
And my shits were the worst. You know.
You gotta get your fiber. I take
fiber. You gotta get your fiber down.
I take fiber supplements too.
Yeah.
On top.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got like a whole stack that I've like designed for myself. So I guess every day I gotta follow the stack. Yeah. Right? I can't, because some days I'll be like, man, could I optimize this better?
Yeah.
Like, what about if I like
you have a lot of optimization in your life.
Yeah. This is my pray 5 times a day. It's like I gotta hit my protein. I gotta have like this many glasses of milk. I gotta hit my fiber supplements. I gotta take my creatine every day. I gotta get my meal replacement shakes in every day, right? And I gotta do it. Well, so the problem, and then some days is I'm like, man, I can like rewrite this. I can make this better. And it's like, Ramsey, you don't have time to do that today.
No.
You gotta like go to work, okay? Like stop, just drink your fucking shake and like move on with your life.
Yeah. Because so you find like you have to balance. Because I think you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm balanced. I gotta balance the structure with the like trying to be better. Yeah. It's like you just gotta be like. Content, Ramsey, you designed this process yourself from the ground up. Yeah. And it's like pretty good. So just like be content with it. Drink your fucking meal replacement shake and like move on. Cause like, you know, it's working for you, right? Like maybe could it be better? Probably. It can always be better. But just like you just gotta do this thing today. Cause like, you know.
So what helps you get to that contentment level? Like being like, just like okay with where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess just like being more aware of my environment and like what's happening for myself and for my life in general. Yeah. And normally that means getting off my phone, getting off a device. Because when you're on your phone, you're like, you're stuck to it, and you're stuck to like thinking. You're like in thinking mode. And I think you don't want to be in thinking mode to like have contentment. Because when you're thinking about how could I do better? Yeah. What can be improved? What can like be done better? Or you're just thinking about like, or you're trying to not think about anything. You're just like on social media, and the social media is like doing the thinking for you almost, and like it's dumping shit into your face. You need to be in like not thinking mode, but like in like existing mode, and like just like looking around. Honestly, can be really like just look around your room. Because then I look around my room like, man, look at this stack of books I've got. That's great. Yeah. And I'm so lucky I have this stack of books that like all of them like...
They're really cool books. Yeah.
People gave me all these books. I didn't buy any of these books.
Shout out. Yeah. Good people in your life.
Right? So I'm like just immediately. I didn't do it. I did like half a second of looking around with you, and I had something to be content with in my life. I was like, man, I'm so lucky I got all these books. Right? And then like... So like if you're thinking about like if I weigh myself on the scale, I'm like, man, I'm looking fat right now. Yeah. And then you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, man, when I'm 60, actually, maybe, you know, this is actually gonna be a great body compared to then. But you gotta like almost like use your senses, right? Like it could be just like touching something, looking at something, like feeling your emotions, like what else? What other senses you talk about tasting something and like actually tasting the food. Yeah. That's a big one. Yeah. Because like I feel like so many of us, we eat something and we're like doing something else while we're eating it, and we're not tasting it. Like even right now, I can like drink this water and just be like actually taste the water. Being present. This is like Toronto has pretty good water. You know that?
Honestly, the glasses.
Taste the water.
This is really good.
I'm like, this is a nice glass. You're right.
Yeah,
Look at the fucking glass.
fucking. Yeah.
Can you believe I got these glasses? How lucky am I?
I already get these glasses.
I got them at Winners.
No way.
Yeah, but they're so nice.
You talk about gratitude, like gratitude in life, and gratitude is actually a really important aspect to how I was, how my father raised me and how he taught the religion to be.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm reinventing religion. I'm just like,
yeah, no, fair.
It's the same. I'm just stealing your practices, man. You're doing it right. You keep going.
So I'll tell you how gratitude and Islam intersect. So, my father has a story that he likes to tell me. He's so proud of this story. Okay, well, anyways,
let's hear the story.
Yeah, so
let's keep it going.
So we're all sitting in we're eating lunch, and we're getting Popeyes, and then I'm eating this Popeye, and I'm like 4 years old, maybe 3. And I'm munching on it, and I probably have that super kid smile, be like, this food is so good.
Yeah, you're a kid eating fried chicken. It's a great day.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? If you thank God, you'll get more food. And I'm like, thank God, or alhamdulillah. And then after my dad takes a chicken and he puts it in there. And so the idea of being by being grateful to God, or more, you can get more in return. Or rather, you're more content with what's there already. Yeah. You know what I mean? Life is already good.
Being content with what you have, you get more. I don't know if you know, people talk about utility and welfare.
Yeah, tell me more.
And in economics, where utility is there's more money, so you can buy more books.
Yeah.
Right. But welfare is how good your life actually is. Right. I feel if you don't have gratitude for the books that you have, then they're not really improving your welfare. You could have 1 million books, but if you're not grateful for the fact that you have 1 million books, or I don't know, cups or tables or whatever, then it's not actually improving your life, right? But if I have and I feel this is what the monks are doing in the middle of nowhere, where they're just I'm gonna be so good at gratitude that I'm gonna have 1 grain of rice, I'm gonna be so grateful for it that I'm gonna enjoy that grain of rice more than you enjoy your whole life in a Western country where you got every luxury. They're gonna be more happy than you. That's how much great gratitude they're doing with 1 grain of rice.
Yeah. Because people always say the richest of us are not the happiest. Yeah.
So just if you do have good things in your life, be grateful for them, and imagine if we could be as good as that monk at appreciating a grain of rice, then we would be so happy because we got so many grains of rice. Holy.
We have a lot of things going for us in the world,
These glasses are not expensive. I'm pretty sure anyone who watches this podcast could go to the store and buy glasses like this. This is $20.
Yeah, I was actually at my friend's house the other day, and they had one of
that's a burrito.
Yeah.
In Toronto. Okay? And then just drink your water out of these every day and have, but listen, you got to appreciate it. Because if you're not trying to be grateful, you're just going to drink water out of the cheapest, the most convenient cup you have, right? Even if you have these cups, you're not even gonna think about it.
No, I
I'm not grateful for these cups all enough.
Yeah,
they're shiny as fuck,
and they reflect glasses pretty well,
right?
Yeah, and there's probably a cup that's just like this that's a couple $100 more.
Maybe it's a little shinier, but the guy who but I'm sure there's one that's a little shinier, but the guys who owns it is not appreciating as much as we are appreciating these cups. So that cost 1/10 the price.
I'm actually interested in this welfare thing. Is this welfare concept related to how we think about welfare, as in the government giving?
I don't think it's that one.
No.
Necessarily. Yeah. I mean, I might be mixing up the econ terms.
No, please.
A little bit too, but I just think of it as how much enjoyment are you getting out of the stuff you have. And how the idea that having more stuff is not directly proportional to
the
satisfaction you get out of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
In that we're the richest golden age in history in terms of having amounts of stuff compared to all our ancestors, and we're not happy about it.
Other than gratitude, what other things can you do to optimize your satisfaction in life?
I think almost when I'm just aware of what's around me, it makes me do the gratitude more, in a sense. In that, like...
Is that the meditation that you talk about?
So I think meditation, like, helps me practice the awareness itself. And then, like, gratitude is easier because of that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of, like, prayer, like, you pray 5 times a day. I'm sure there's some aspects to it there. Actually, I got a question about that.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Do you understand, like, the Arabic that you're saying when you pray?
I think I'll give you a good answer on that.
Yeah.
Like, I think on the whole, not everything.
Okay.
Not everything. And that's something I ought to do better.
Yeah.
And I feel like because I'm born into Islam, like, there are certain things that, like, I take for granted.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'll digress and I'll come back to the prayer. So one thing for me was so you have this Quran, right?
Yeah.
It's the text of the religion. It's not a big book. Mm-hmm. It's like 300 pages long.
Okay, it's a normal book length. Just
one book. Yeah. And growing up for the first 20 or so odd years, up until very recently, I've only read the Quran in its original language, Arabic, which brings you blessings and whatnot, but I mean, you just don't understand what the book says, you know? So I just got really what the Quran was saying from other folks, you know?
Yeah, it was like, I grew up Muslim too.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I didn't know what it was saying when my parents showed it to me. I was like, I don't know what it says. But, okay, sure. Yeah, I can look at the words on a piece of paper. I don't know what it says.
Do you have to like read the phonetic Arabic?
That's what I was doing. They're like, just read the phonetic Arabic out, and like, I'm like, I don't know if this is doing anything I don't think it was doing anything for me, but it was like, I feel like you gotta, like, they're words. You gotta understand them.
You gotta understand them.
Which that's why I asked, because I was like, because I know when I grew up, I didn't understand them. I feel like it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you understand what they say, and then you go and you pray, and you say the words that you know what they mean, it's going to do so much more for you. Because I'm sure there's like a verse in the Quran that's like, be grateful for your life. And you go and you pray and you say, be grateful for your life like 5 times a day, you're going to be more grateful for your life. Right?
No, 100%. That's exactly it. So I had, like, a couple years ago, like, some people have their find God moment. My find God moment was a couple years ago. So, on that year, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to read the text in the original language. And I was scared, because I was scared, honestly, because I thought, like, it would add more rules to my life. You know, sometimes I thought ignorance is bliss, you know, like, I know pork is haram, but, like, is there something else in there that like, is not illegal? But actually, it was less prescriptive. Like, most of the book repeats itself, and it's just, like, worship God and do good. Like, basically, most of it is like that. And there were like text text about that I really resonated with. You know, one was about like you know, it was like a night in the Quran that said something about like, you know, just because you believe doesn't mean you won't be tested. You know, life comes through so many hardships that happen in your life constantly, and you just have to be reminded that life is a cycle of hardships that you just have to, you know, go through and whatnot. But reading the text is really helps me, and then the prayer itself is exactly that, right? Like I don't know everything in the prayer, but I know that a part of the prayer we ask God to forgive. You know, like, you know, part of like praying 5 times a day is that, like, let's say you know, got upset with somebody and you said something that mean, you know, or let's say you said something mean, you ask for forgiveness the next prayer over, you know what I mean, off the mistakes that you did, and you constantly ask for forgiveness throughout, and I
think that's important to do, because like, I think the way I think of like a lot of these things, often I won't forgive myself for it, right? And then I'll like be frustrated at myself, and then I guess I don't learn the lesson from having done, like maybe I said something mean, I don't learn the lesson that I shouldn't do that because I'm just like mad at myself. I don't want to like engage with the fact that I said something mean in my own head, so I just don't think about it. But I feel like when you do that, you're like, God, forgive me for having said something mean. Then you're almost gonna start forgiving yourself for it, and then next, like you'll remember next time to, like, not do something mean. Yeah, you'll be like, you know what, I made that mistake in the past, and God forgave me. So like next time, I'm gonna be better next time, right? And like it's okay that I made a mistake.
And I don't want to catch myself here. Like, one, I think if you say something mean to someone, not only are you asking God for forgiveness, but you've done wrong to the other person. So, you know, you have a duty now to ask for forgiveness for the person that you did wrong to. Right. You know? Because there's two things that you do wrong. You know, there's the wrong that you do to someone else, and there's the wrong that you do to yourself. You know? And both are treated differently. But yeah, I think a big part of religion is redemption, you know? And actually, redemption is a big part of locking in, I feel. Because, like, you do something wrong. Let's say, like, you know, you had a rough time in your life and whatnot, and you're not in the place that you really want to be. The way that, you know, Islam is structured is that, you know, it's never too late. As long as you have a breath out, you know what I mean? It's never too late to, like, be a better person tomorrow. Yeah. You know, you could always be a better person. Yeah. There's always an opening.
You're not locked into being a bad person.
Never locked in. Yeah, exactly.
Tomorrow you can choose to be a good person, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Tomorrow you could be the best person ever. Yeah. And also tomorrow you can also be a bad person. You always have to remember that even if you're a good person, even if you're a sheikh and whatnot, doesn't mean that you're off the ropes.
You're never done.
You're never done.
Yeah, you're always locking in.
You're always locking in. You're always there.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. I love that we're bringing it back.
Yeah.
Name.
Hey, yeah.
What was I going to say about that? This is good. Yeah. Praying. Yes. I guess my point was just, I think if you know what you're saying when you're praying, it's gonna hit harder.
100%. Yeah. The Arabs back in the day probably hits hard every single time.
Because like they haven't had like the language changed over hundreds of years too. They know exactly what it means. They pray. They're like, oh, this shit hits.
Oh, this shit hits. Yeah.
Right? So like I just like I've heard in like a meditation, like when people are talking about meditation of something similar, where like one, and I guess to translate to prayer, I'd say like one good prayer is worth 100 bad prayers. Yeah. Because like if you like know Arabic really well, and you know exactly what it's saying, and you like really, when you're praying, you like process every word and you really think about it, that one real good prayer is gonna hit. It's gonna like bring you closer to God, I guess, than like 100 prayers where you're just like mindlessly doing it, which is I feel like kind of how I was doing it as a kid. I was just like mindlessly, just like following the motions, and like I don't know, it wasn't doing anything for me.
No, and honestly, I had a bit of like when you blindly follow something, like you have a certain, and you don't know the reasons for it. Like I had a certain like I was like, this is too much, because like sometimes my parents used to wake me up because like morning prayer is at 5 a.m. sometimes, so like 4 a.m. sometimes. That's why I used to get woken up at like 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, bro, leave me alone. Nah, man. I'm
trying to sleep.
I'm trying to sleep, you know? Way too much. But when you do it because you understand why it exists, and you see the goodness that comes not only in the spiritual sense, but also just the practical sense of discipline, you know, it hits way more. Yeah.
I mean, I could even apply that to like going to the gym too.
100%.
I feel like if I'm going to the gym because someone told me to go to the gym, like I'm not gonna give my all. I'm not gonna like go till the last rep. No. I'm just gonna leave early probably every day. I'm like, I went to the gym, go whatever, fuck it. But if I'm there because I'm like, no, I gotta get my reps, I want to like get gains. Like I know I'm getting enough protein. Like when I go to the gym, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna kill it.
You know, for me, the gym was like that as well. Like I could never get the gym to click for the longest time. Until like I saw the first gains, bro. Like, because like I would hit the gym and I'll still look the same. And I was a little chubbier back in the day too, and I was like, I'm still chubby tomorrow, man. Like, well, what is this doing?
Yeah.
You know? But now like you get the pump right after too.
Yeah.
Like
you look at
immediate.
yourself and you're like, oh, fuck.
Shit.
I love going to the gym. Holy.
Do it right before a night out. You know what I mean? Like, boom, yeah.
No, I've stopped by the gym in my building sometimes, done some curls before going out.
Yeah. Oh, and also the location means everything. Like building systems around your life.
Yeah.
Like we talked a little bit about that earlier, but like the second the gym was in my building and like right across the street for $15, that's when it. But when I had to take the bus to the gym,
yeah, you got to make it easier for yourself to do it.
Yeah, missing.
Yeah, well, you gotta like increase the benefits to yourself and decrease the costs, I guess.
100%.
Like, make it easy to go, and then like understand why you're doing it, right? So that you're like, oh, I know. Even though I haven't got the gains yet, like I get that this is gonna get me gains. I know I'm gonna get around this much gains, and like even for me, just like when I first started, I was like tracking every lift and how heavy I was going. Yeah. And I started like really light, and like even though I hadn't made like body gains yet, I was seeing like I'm doing heavier than I did when I started. Yeah. Right. Even just because like the number's bigger. Like, could I have done this number when I started? I mean, maybe, but like honestly, I don't know, because like I was like so like weak. I had like nothing, no muscles on this body, man. Right? And just like the number's gone up. That's great. Yeah. The number has gone up. And you're making gains. And you're making gains too. You know, honestly, I like. And one thing I love about going to the gym is that you see people all ages looking really good. Yeah. You know, like aging like part of me is scared, but also like going to the gym reminds me that I could be 45 and look great. You know what I mean? I remember like starting to go to the gym when I was like balding, and balding is such a scary experience. Yeah. Like, but once you accept it though, that's the secret. Good. That's the secret. Like, right? Once you like do the plunge, and then after like. You go on a date, and the date is going well, and you find the girl's finding you attractive, and you're like, you know what, like it's not too bad, man. It's not too bad. But that, to me, that's kind of like even when I was talking about the awareness thing, like being aware of like what's in your control and what's not in your control. Yeah. Right. So like in this case, it's like being aware. Like I can't change. Like my hair's like it's going, it's gone. Like there's nothing we can do here, and just like accepting that. And once you're like, okay, I can't change that. What are we gonna do about it now? What is in my control? Like there's a restriction on how I'm gonna look, which is that I don't have a lot of hair, and then I have the freedom to choose what to do with that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking just shave it off. Yeah. And like, holy shit, this is fantastic. You look great. You know what? I'm gonna grow the beard to go with the hair, and like, oh man, I love it. This is great, right? I gotta be creative with the restriction. Restriction. Because so for me, like I remember like realizing like I was going bald. I was actually on a night out, and I was like, oh shit. I would blame my barber for like basically like 3 months. No, I was like, I was going like different barbers because I was like, I'm sure one of these guys can give me a good haircut. Like, and I would go, I'd be like, I don't know, I don't really like it. Like it's not hitting. It's not hitting. It's not, and I went to like a bunch of, and none of them hit. And I was like, you know what? I think it's just not. Let's just fuck this. And for me, like the accepting part, I was like, I remember accepting like not doing the whole going bald part, like not doing the whole balding part. I was like, you're going out, go out strong. Exactly, you know what I mean? Like pick out. I'm bald now, and just like hug it, you know? Yeah. I remember my buddies would be like, I can still see the follicles as a hairline. I'm like, nah, man, I'm bald now. Yeah, you just gotta like accept it and whatnot. Yeah, because I think once you accept it, then you can really make the best. And now you got time to spend on other things, right? Yeah. You can, like, instead of spending money on a barbershop, you can go buy some new clothes, right? Yeah, barbershops are getting more expensive now. They're like $50 a pop. Yeah, right. Yeah. And then you can work on yourself, and you can work on your like how you dress in other ways. You can like look at it in other ways. That is true, right? Because like even if we ignore that, like maybe you looked okay when you were like had some hair. Maybe you still had some. Maybe you could have made it work longer, but like. If you have to like spend more money, maybe you got to go to a barbershop more often to like really keep it clean to make it work or something, right? And like you can put the time. You're spending time on it, you're spending energy, like booking the barbershop appointment and going there. You're spending money. All that can go to like something else in your life. Man, yeah, $50 every 2 weeks. I will say one thing about being bald I didn't realize is that
it's also constant maintenance because you're always
Yeah.
balding. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like you
yeah.
always have to like.
Always locking in.
You're always locking in. Yeah. Do you do a weekly schedule? Like.
Yeah, I do it once a week.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, I just do it myself at home for free. It's great.
Easy. Boom. Out of here.
Right.
How was like dating and like for the first time while being bald?
My dating life was not good before it.
Yeah.
And I think part of it was just like the confidence. And once I shaved it, my confidence went way up.
Yeah.
And like that helped a lot. So it only got better.
That is true. For me, I remember like I had like a perfect like Hinge profile like with the hair. You know, and it was like working with me and whatnot. And so like just like I don't know, like basically doing now having to take the photo because I feel like that's the hard thing about guys. Like we never have like photos for
anything. Now you got to take a bunch of whole new photos.
But then after you just perfected it after, which is it took some time, but
yeah,
you're growing.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to get rid of the old habit of having hair. You got to bring in the new one of no hair, and it's gonna take some time to get used to it. But like if you're making the choice, then it's gonna be a better, we say, habit of your profile.
Exactly.
Almost. Checking the time.
Oh no, yeah, we stopped them. Yeah,
We get some time. Yeah. But yeah. No, but yeah, my dating life only got better after because I feel like the hair was the hair and like other things, like it was like a slow process. Like I worked on my wardrobe, I looked at my hair, and like one thing at a time. And each of them things, like I was not confident about them, and that just made me less confident going into the date. And then once like I felt good about the hair, then I go into the day. I'm not thinking about my hair. I'm just thinking about like the experience of being on the date and like what am I gonna say to her and like what's the experience gonna be like, and just that helped a lot.
Yeah. I remember the first couple times it was awkward, but also like the way I've dated over time has like definitely like changed a whole bunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, the like once like I felt like confident in my own body, like dating became a lot more like just chill.
I was like starting to work out around the same time too, right? And then you put all those together, and I think the biggest thing for me was just like accepting that like if she doesn't like me, like there's nothing to do with me.
I think you said it to me before. You're like you know, like having a bad first date is probably a better thing.
Yes.
You know? Than having a bad like.
I think we talked about that in one of the episodes too, actually.
Yeah, you did. Like, what were you guys talking about?
Yeah. No, I think it was like on one of the episodes we literally were like bad dates are actually good. Yeah. I think that was the quote. And like I mean I don't know if you've had more experience with that since we talked about it.
Yeah. But... No, seeing someone that I really like and really enjoy. Mm-hmm. I think I used to just go on dates just like willy-nilly, you know, mm-hmm. And with no real purpose of like, you know, just dating for fun. Mm-hmm. And you meet so many cool, so many interesting people, mm-hmm. But I find the issue always became, okay, like what's the future, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think the realization that like you know, I want a partner for life. Yeah. Definitely just changed my whole dating attitude or like how I approach dating and whatnot.
You weren't approaching it that way before, then?
No, I mean like maybe on the back of my head, like sure, you know. Yeah. But like before, I was just like, hey, look, if you find me attractive and I find you attractive. Fuck, like, let's just like go out, you know, see what happens. But like, you know,
I think the intentionality is good.
It's important. Yeah.
I think even if your intention is not a partner for life, it's important to have the intention that like I'm not looking for that. Yeah. Like, if you're looking for that, like next, like just like you gotta be able to filter out like what are you looking for. You're looking for a partner for life, good. Like communicate that, like be solid about that, like.
Yeah, you definitely have to be like true to who you are. Yeah. You know? And I found like once I switched to like dating for a partner in life, like like I found someone like really really cool and someone that like I connect with well.
Yeah.
But that only happened once I knew what I was going for, or what I was looking for. You know, without that, then you're just meeting random people in different lives, and you're just like star-crossed all day. You know what I mean?
I feel like it's like that's so important, that like intentionality there, and like an authentic intentionality of like, this is what I'm looking for out of this, and this is what I want, and bringing that to them. And I think that is like when people talk about you gotta be confident to get girls. I think to me that is like a form of confidence.
It's huge,
of saying like, this is what I want, and like being okay if she doesn't want that, right? Because I think when I was less confident, I was like, man, I just want a girlfriend. Like, I don't know, like whatever you want, like yeah, sure, yeah, I'll take it. Like you know, if you're down, I'm down. Like let's just go.
Yeah.
Right. But that's because I didn't have any intention. I wasn't being authentic. Right. And like I think like the girls, like they can sense that. They're like, oh, this guy's not confident. But if you're like going in, you're like, this is my intention, this is what I want, and if you don't want that, then like next,
here's the door. Yeah.
Right? That's confident. They're like, holy shit, who is this guy? He's telling me like I can fucking leave? What the heck? Damn, he must be fucking hot. He must have so many girls coming to him if he's telling me to leave. Right? Okay, no, I want you now. I want you now. Right? Assuming that they also want that.
Yeah.
Right? And if they don't, then you're happy for them to leave. Right? Because you're like, yeah, I want a long-term partner. If you don't want that, like, literally get out. And they're like, great, and they get out, and everyone wins.
It's true. Yeah, you know, no one's meant for everyone. And
exactly. Yeah, you only need one.
You only need one. And I think like a major part of how I think about partnership, like, is someone to like be in a project with you together. You know. And you know. And striving for being better people together.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
like the relationship is like a project, and you're working on it together.
Yeah,
you guys gotta be on the same team.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think my mom and my dad like disagreed on some things, or many things, but like they agreed on that one simple thing. You know, like, we are here as a project to grow this family. We'll deliver on that project. And they did pretty well, I will say. And I think I'll think about that as the same. You know, like as two people like building a project together. Yeah. Do you talk to a lot of your married friends and like what? How do
Honestly, I don't have that many married friends.
Yeah.
Like the number's slowly growing.
Yeah, same here.
But
I think a lot of my friends are scared to make that jump. Like marriage seems like a completion step rather than like a beginning of something. Yeah.
I think that is like a common thing of like, oh, once we get married, then it's done. Yeah. But like, you're never locked in.
No.
You know? Marriage is another. It's just a different kind of locking in. You're locking into like building the relationship together, and then you have kids, and you're locking in on like raising the kids together. And
the married people in my life do seem like they have a lot more things happening, but they feel so much more committed to the project of life, and they're like working towards something more clearly than most of my like non-married friends. Yeah.
I guess like you kind of have to have that like clear goal of like, we're gonna be locking into this relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like you're committed to the relationship and locking into that, and so you're more intentional than someone who's maybe not in a relationship. Like I'd say I'm pretty committed to locking into the gym. You know, I'm doing that every day, but a relationship is like a pretty big thing to lock into, and I think without that, it's easy to just like not lock into anything. But maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll try that, maybe I'll try that. I don't know, and just like not pick anything to lock into. I don't know if I'm losing myself.
What do you? I think in a previous episode you talked about your skepticism around marriage and whatnot. Like where does your skepticism come from?
I guess I think what I had said the other time was, and this is what I've been saying for a while. Is like I don't trust my future self to keep that commitment, but I think it was someone on one of the past ones said basically was that you're making the choice now to be committed to that thing in the future and to like kind of design your life around that commitment. So I mean, even if we just look at like me going to the gym, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm committed to going to the gym for myself, and so I design my life around going to the gym. And so like in the future, I'm still gonna want to go to the gym, I guess, because like I've set myself up for it, and it's easy to go to the gym, right? Like I guess I've made it easier to go to the gym than it otherwise would be. So actually, like in the future, it's probably going to be an easier choice to keep going to the gym than to be like, actually, I don't want to go to the gym. And I think it's a similar thing with the relationship, is because you've designed your life around maintaining the relationship. It's easier to keep the relationship going than it would be to not. Then it's easier to make the choice to say I want to stay in this than it would be if you hadn't designed your life around the relationship.
Yeah,
They got a little complicated.
No. I feel like you know what it is. I feel like a lot of times outside of marriage, like on the first instance of inconvenience,
Yeah.
You just break up. You know, and
But like a terrible attitude to anything.
it's a terrible attitude, but it happens all the time. It's like,
It does.
This is so inconvenient for me. Like, why am I keeping her around, or why, on her, like, why am I keeping him around, you know? But
also, like, my commitment with my partner is we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, no matter what comes up, we're going to talk about it, and if we talk about it, it means that we're not together anymore, then, like, fine, but, like, we're going to have talked about it. We're not just going to, like, break up, like, because of some inconvenience. If there's an inconvenience, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to deal with it.
I think that's a way more mature way of doing it. I feel like there's definitely like ways to like.
To me, it almost feels like why are you doing this if you're not going to have at least that kind of commitment to each other? Like, we're going to talk about it, because you're still leaving room for breakup. I guess it's just that like we're in this project together, even if it leads to breakup. I guess so. It's not, you're not married, right? But
yeah, and it's not like, you know, you have marriage, but you also like divorce is a very legal thing, and actually divorce is actually, you know, we talk about rules. One thing about the Quran, it actually very much describes like how divorce is supposed to be handled, and so, you know, so like the way divorce works is like, you know, sure, of course you have a problem and whatnot, and if the problem's serious enough, you could definitely get divorced, but like the way it's handled is it gives time for the problem to be solved. You know, you can't divorce someone the next day. You
got to talk about it.
You got to talk
first.
about it, right? And I think in like, I feel like in like casual relationships, you know, the breakup conversation is the breakup conversation.
Yeah.
And then the next day you're broken up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's not a let's talk about the issue conversation. It's a let's break up conversation.
It's the one up, but like, you know, but in this case, like, you know, like you're like, okay, can we solve this?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can't solve this today. Can we solve this next week?
Yeah.
We can't solve this next week. Can we solve this next month? We can't solve this next month. Okay, maybe it is best that we leave.
Yes. Yeah.
But we took so long to
to
like figure it out and whatnot.
Yeah. I feel like it's a very healthy attitude for these things. It's just, but I think you got to have talked about it, I guess, before you start to, right?
Yeah.
Do
you think marriage is like, at least in my head, I'm seeing. Maybe I'm actually getting through to this as I'm talking to you right now, but like maybe marriage, one of the good reasons of marriage, it forces you into this commitment, and it forces you to go through the inconvenience together and hopefully become, because often that saying that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense to me. Very much. And like I think a lot of these like old traditions we have, like marriage, they're designed for like, so that everybody has to go through that, I guess. Yeah. And like it's like an easier way to explain it to force everybody to do that, I guess, right? And like maybe Ramsey, he's like, oh, he's gonna do it anyway, and he's gonna do it in his own way that works best for him, right? But like I think the idea is that like not everyone's gonna have like figured this out necessarily in the way that I figured it out, and like I'm sure there's lots of things I haven't figured out. And the idea is to just like everybody, you're just gonna do it like this because like this is the way you're supposed to do it, and like don't ask questions, and like that'll actually work really well for a lot of people. It's not gonna work for everybody, right? And like maybe for Ramsey, he'd rather do something slightly different. But when you just kind of like at a population level, right? You just gotta give everyone the same drug and like be like it works. Just take the drug, bro. Like don't
ask questions.
Right? Don't ask questions, right? But like maybe this guy needs like 5% more drug, right? And like but like the doctor just giving you that he's like this is the dose, bro. Just take it, right? I think that's what a lot of these traditions are. Just like we're giving everyone the same thing, and like that's gonna work for like 90% of people, right? Or it's gonna work well enough. Maybe someone like it's not gonna work perfectly, it's not right, but like it's gonna work well enough for everyone that just like please do it. It's exactly the same thing as like what I'm saying. It's just that mine's maybe a little customized for me. And I think that's why like it's good that like there's room for people to customize marriage for themselves. But
every marriage is definitely different, and I think one thing that reason why I started dating, in search of a partner for life is I think it makes a lot of the way I've seen some of my guys, like the guys that got married around me, like whatever issue they had or shortcoming they had, of course it exists in some sense, but like they're able to be held accountable for that and become better people, because you talk about like adding restrictions in your life to be better, like having someone to hold you to account, like because now you're not only accountable to yourself, but you're also accountable like how can we provide for my family, like how and
even I'm accountable to my friends sometimes too, right? Like that makes it easier to do the thing that I want to do.
I do. Yeah, I have a friend a cousin I text to go to the gym with.
Yeah.
But sometimes we flop on each other.
But yeah, I definitely like see how marriage is doing that for people too. Right, having a partner, and I think it's just having, and I think the longer you've been with somebody too, whether it's a friend or a relationship, the more like they know you and they know how to hold you accountable. They know what your flaws are and stuff, and like there's value to having people around for a long time, right? Like even just a friend you just met is not gonna be able to help you in the same way a friend you've had for 7 years is going to be able to help you. Like there's a value.
Do you think what do you think the capacity of like growing marriage is one aspect of your life, but lifelong friends is another thing. How do you think of like developing, because like my mom used to say this and I believe it, like you are who your friends are, so like building that circle of trust, like how do you think about that?
I guess for me it's like I think it's really good that I've had friends that have been around for a really long time. I think like the one thing with that is like sometimes you have to change who you are because you're not the best version of yourself, and sometimes the friends don't come with you too, right? Which is really hard then, and then you lose like those friends that have been around a long time. But also hopefully you can find friends that will change with you too. And I think to me it's like I got some friends that have been around a long time, some friends around less time, some friends that I like just met, right? Especially like if I want to change, sometimes it's hard to change for like the people that I've known for a long time, but maybe I can meet someone new that it's easier to
you're like a different you person. They they don't know your personality and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. You can be anyone. Yeah. And then it's almost like if there's like a way I want to change into, it's like easy to change in front of that person and then go back to my other friends and be like, hey, I've like changed a little bit now. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I see that. But like it's hard to do that with those old friends who know the old me, right? But it's like I got like we got like 10-year friends, we got 5-year friends, we got 3-year friends, we got 2-year friends, we got 1-week friends. I think you just kind of like you're always locking into making new friends and keeping old friends.
Yeah. You like I find like I have this saying where like I find like every person in your life has a story to say, and they're like characters in that story, and the length of time they are present in that story isn't isn't necessary to the fact of how important they are. You know what I mean? Like every person I've met and growing in my life has impacted me in a different way. They don't have to be with me the whole way through, you know. But I love them regardless.
Speaking of accountability and friend Zach, it is almost time for your
prayer.
So I'm gonna keep you accountable.
Okay.
And finish up the episode here.
Yes.
So, but I think this was really great.
Thank you so much.
Very happy to have you on, and very happy to keep you accountable too.
To prayer.
I was like watching the time, and I was like, I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna like really, like it's so perfect. I'm gonna like tie the episode back up with it's time for Zach to go pray.
It's time to pray.
So
thank you so much. I'll actually use the washroom.
I was very, very happy to have you on the show. I hope you had fun as well.
I definitely have. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. All right, that's it. Until next episode, please like, subscribe, whatever all the other YouTubers tell you to do. Thank you very much.
Peace.